Welcome to another Unreal Foos tutorial. Today I'm going to talk about the front pin shot. The first thing we need to do is learn to set up the ball. I'm going to show you a few of the ways that I use to set up into a front pin, and it's exactly the same way that you would use if you're going to set up for a snake or rollover shot. So you can also take a look at the rollover tutorial. I talk about a similar topic in order to be able to set up for that shot. So this is how I do it. Easiest way is to do it like that. Push the ball, have the middle guy tilted. When the ball hits the middle guy, the ball goes at an angle, and you pin it with that middle guy as well. So again, it goes, that's a simple way. Here's a few other ways. Ultimately, you just want to be able to get the ball into this pin position, and then from there on, we can move on to begin our front pin shot. Okay, the next step is learning the correct grip to do the front pin shot. And before I go there, I want to mention a couple of things. One is that you can use a glove. I don't use a glove, but you're welcome to try it. You could try using a golf glove or a baseball glove, and that might work out well for shooting this shot. It's not required, but you're welcome to try it. The other thing is that if you notice on this table and most tables, the handles are not completely cylindrical. There's a little bit of a hollow part in the middle here, which I would imagine is for ergonomic reasons. But some pin shooters will take a piece of a wrap and wrap just this portion so that it evens it out, so that it evens out the handle and so that it's completely cylindrical. So definitely try out the different things. Try out shooting the shot with a glove. Try out wrapping this portion of it, and see if that makes a difference on the shot. For my preference is I just use a standard wrap and no glove. Okay, so the proper grip for this shot is it's an open-handed grip, because ultimately when you hit, you're going to be rolling the handle on your palm and your fingers. And that's what's going to allow you to make contact with the ball and to strike the ball. The way I like to hold the handle, and the way I've seen some of the better pin shooters shoot and hold the handle is you can use your fingers, curl your fingers, go around the handle at the bottom, and your index finger is going to be at the top of the handle. And your thumb is going to be at the top, sticking out a little bit. And you really want to have a good stance. You don't want to be flat-footed. You can bend your knees. And once you have this grip, then when you shoot, and I'll show you in a little bit, but when you shoot, you're going to be rolling the handle on your palm and your finger. So it's going to look like this. So make sure that that you have a good grip, and then that it feels good. Okay, the next step before we can even start shooting off this front pin setup is to develop really good control under this front pin position. So once you go here, you set up, you make sure that you have a good pin, go into your grip, and then start practicing movement. You can start by rocking the ball, then doing really small movements to either side. You can do those kinds of things. If you lose the ball, go back and set up. But the more you practice, the easier it's going to become to move the ball and control the ball. So get into the habit of practicing this a lot before you even start shooting, and having this control will make it a lot easier for you to be able to shoot the different options of this front pin shot. I recommend that you go all the way down here, have the outside guys touch the ball, and also participate in the front pinning, and that will make a difference. It's also a technique that's used when you take a timeout, rather than going back and having this second guy touch the ball and going back to your setup, you can just move it to the outside, have this guy touch the ball, and that starts your time again, and you can go back to your shot without ever leaving the front pin position. So, but it's good to develop this type of skill, and just moving and practicing this movement will give you a lot better control. And so start by doing smaller steps. You can tap faster too. Try doing a lot of taps like this to get your hand used to that movement. And then just try to develop a rhythm that you feel comfortable with and that you like. So, but ultimately you want to be able to go up and down here and set up the ball and keep it on in this position. Okay, so now that we know the basics, let's start looking at some of the different shot options. Okay, the first one, let me show you the pull side. So once you get into your pin position, you have your grip. Let me show you what it looks like, and then I'll explain a little bit about it. So if you look at that shot, one of the things that I do is when I move the ball and the ball gets to the spot where I want to hit, I roll, I put the pressure down so that the handle rolls and the guy moves up, and then I quickly go up. But one of the things that I do is the fingers will curl at the end in order to stop the guy from spinning too far. And the other thing that I'm doing is when I'm hitting in the opposite direction, and that will allow me to square the shot and go out deep and square the shot. So on that last shot when I went there, I essentially did that. So, you could always practice things like that where you bring the ball and leave it on the corner there, and then and do that type of drill to get really into the habit of being able to square the shot and shoot it where you want. So, but definitely try it, obviously, as part of the shot. Okay. And then after that is you can just vary the distance. You can go long, short, 3/4, whatever you want. Okay, so then after that, let's look at the push side. And again, with the push side, when you hit the push side, now you're hitting. As you're hitting, you're coming down on the ball, so you're actually bringing it back on the opposite direction in order to square the shot. So. It's always good to have a really good pin. You can always verify that by tapping on it and moving a couple times and making sure that it feels really solid. Okay, so that's the technique for hitting the corner. So really practice that, and getting a nice deep shot on the outside definitely opens up the inside game. Okay, so then the next part is shooting middles, and there's different ways of shooting the middles. So the first one is actually a flip over shot, and what that means is that as you're setting up right here, and you're trying to sell that you're going to go to the corners or do some other type of option, when you're ready to shoot that straight shot, you're just flipping the guy over like this. So you're just doing that flip over shot. And again, one of the key things for this flip over shot is that as you let the handle go so that it can spin, you have to hold it really quickly, just making sure that it only goes about one revolution, a little bit more than that, so that it hits the ball, and you catch it so that it doesn't spin way past the 360 degree allowed limit. So that's one way, and probably the easiest way to hit the straight. So the other ways to hit the straights is to the other simple one is, if you're faking here, you can always come and hit the ball behind without having to do that flip over. So if you're here you can still do that, or you can do, you know, a fake, you know, a little bit of this helicopter movement here where you're moving and just go and hit it, just hit the ball behind. The other way is moving the ball to one side or the other and then coming back middle. So, you know, I could potentially fake, put a fake here and then come down middle, or the same thing if I were to fake over here and then go middle. Okay, let's look at a few more options. This next option I typically use mainly on the pull side. I don't do it as much on the push side, but this is a fake that that typically gets people, especially when you've shot some harder shots. And so one of the things that you do is if somebody gives you standard defense like this, you know, if they're doing this type of defense, you can do a hard fake to one way and then hit the ball right in between those two guys. So so you move the ball and then just right from behind like that, and it goes right in between it. So it's definitely one of those tricky options, and when you do it at the right time, it's kind of a cool little sneaky shot. Like that. Another set of shots to have is doing cutbacks. So it's basically moving the ball and hitting with the edge of the guy at an angle like that. And you can do it on either side, but if we want to do it on the pull side, you know, you do that type of shot, and it can definitely be a very, very tough shot to have, especially when people are just trying to block you, you know, with a standard defense, because this angle is always open there if you execute it at the right spot. And the same thing with the push side. Somebody switches their defense like that, or you know, or if they're playing sort of a reverse standard defense, you know, like that, those angles are there, but they're there because typically most people won't shoot those angles because they're a little bit tougher to get consistent with. But you know, they can be done. One of the ways to do them is if you do them a little bit slower. Is if you move really a little bit slower, and as soon as you feel like you're that the guy is losing contact with the ball, at that moment stop and then quickly flick the guy. That one went a little bit too much, but so, you know, that's the way you do those angles. So, and if you practice them again, it's a really good option. You can incorporate pull kicks and push kicks, and one way to do it could be in a sneaky way like this. So next time that you go set up, you sell it like you're gonna set up for your normal shot, but when you're doing this, is you're gonna have this middle guy push the ball towards the outside guy, and he's gonna come back with a pull kick. So you can do something like that, or you know, put the same thing with a push kick. So if you practice them, you can definitely catch people off guard when they're just expecting a regular setup and a regular shot. I would also recommend that you do this helicopter movement, which is basically circling on top of the ball. So start out slow like that, and then try to gradually increase the speed and get better at it. But you know, the more you do it, your arm gets tired. So you know, I would find it hard to just do your series strictly on this helicopter movement, but it's good to practice it, to have that control, and to be able to hit shots off of that setup. You know, whether it's like I showed earlier, whether you're doing this and then you go straight, or whether you circle and go to the push side. You know, practice it again. It doesn't matter if initially when you're practicing, if you try to go real fast and then you hit it and you lose control, you know, it's gonna take a long time to try to get good at it. But again, it's just start doing this. But it does get really tiring. Hopefully it'll build some endurance and it'll get your arm a little bit stronger.